Imagine you're working a normal Tuesday shift at the airport gate when suddenly a woman in the loudest floral print you've ever seen marches up to your counter, slams her economy boarding pass down, and screams that she deserves a first-class upgrade because she's more important than everyone else waiting to board. And when you politely explain that's not how airlines work, she goes absolutely nuclear and demands to see your manager. But here's the beautiful twist. Her tantrum backfired so spectacularly that instead of getting upgraded, she got downgraded to the absolute worst seat on the plane, and I got to witness the whole thing unfold. My name is Jake, I'm 29 years old, and I've been working as a gate agent for Regional Airways for 5 years now, which means I've seen my fair share of entitled passengers. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for Brenda Whitmore and her delusions of grandeur. It was a scorching Tuesday afternoon in July, peak summer travel season, and I was manning Gate 24 for Flight 1847 to Orlando, a completely full flight with 156 passengers, mostly families heading to Disney World, business travelers, and retirees going to visit family. Boarding was set to begin in 20 minutes, and I was doing my usual pre-boarding prep, printing standby lists, checking for any special assistance passengers, making sure everything was ready for an on-time departure, when I heard the unmistakable sound of someone yelling across the gate area. "Excuse me! Excuse me, gate agent! I need to speak with you immediately." I looked up to see her storming toward my counter like a hot pink and purple tornado, a woman in her late 40s, chubby build, wearing the most eye-searingly bright floral blouse I'd ever seen. Hot pink background with giant purple and lime green flowers that honestly hurt to look at, paired with too tight white capri pants and bedazzled white sandals that clicked aggressively with each step. Her hair was this brassy orange-red color that screamed, "Home dye job gone wrong," teased up with so much hairspray it didn't move when she walked. And she had on more makeup than a department store cosmetics counter. Foundation that was way too pale for her skin tone, bright coral lipstick that had bled outside her lip lines, and rhinestone cat-eye glasses dangling from a chain around her neck, along with a chunky fake pearl necklace. She was dragging an oversized purple pleather tote bag that looked ready to burst, and she had that look on her face. You know the one. The "I'm about to make your day miserable" look that every service worker recognizes instantly. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe to HOA Karen Tales for more wild Karen stories. She slammed her boarding pass down on my counter so hard that my pen jumped. "I need you to fix this immediately," she announced, not asked. Announced in a voice loud enough that every passenger in the gate area turned to stare. I glanced down at the boarding pass. Economy class, seat 32B, a middle seat toward the back of the aircraft. Perfectly normal. "Good afternoon, ma'am," I said with my professional customer service smile. "How can I help you today?" "How can you help me?" she repeated, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You can start by upgrading me to first class where I belong. I am not sitting in this peasant seat," I blinked. "Peasant seat, really? Ma'am, I understand you'd prefer a different seat, but this is a completely full flight. Your ticket was purchased as an economy seat, and unfortunately we don't have any first-class seats available." Her face started turning red, clashing horribly with her coral lipstick. "I don't think you understand," she said, leaning over the counter and jabbing her finger at me. "I am Brenda Whitmore, president of the Riverside Gardens HOA for 8 years, and I have flown with this airline twice before. I have earned an upgrade. Now you can either give me a first-class seat, or I'll make sure your supervisor knows that you're discriminating against loyal customers." I maintained my calm demeanor, though internally I was already exhausted and boarding hadn't even started. "Ma'am, upgrades are based on availability and elite status with our frequent flyer program. I don't see any elite status on your account, and as I mentioned, first class is completely full. However, I'd be happy to see if there are any other economy seats available that might be more comfortable for you." "More comfortable?" she shrieked, and I mean shrieked. Heads turned, children stared, a baby started crying. "I don't want more comfortable. I want first class. Do you have any idea how important I am? I manage an entire community of 72 homes. I make decisions that affect people's lives. I deserve to be treated with respect." At this point, I noticed an elderly woman standing behind Brenda in line. a sweet-looking lady who had to be in her mid-70s, wearing a soft lavender cardigan and carrying a small beige purse, clearly waiting patiently to ask me a simple question. She looked uncomfortable with all the yelling. "Ma'am," I said firmly but politely to Brenda, "I understand you're frustrated, but I need you to lower your voice. There are other passengers waiting, and you're disrupting the gate area. I've explained that we cannot provide a first-class upgrade today. If you'd like to discuss upgrade options for future flights, I can give you information about our frequent flyer program." "Do not tell me to lower my voice," she screamed, somehow getting even louder. "I will speak however I want, and I am not moving until you give me what I deserve. Get me your manager right now!" I took a deep breath. "I'll be happy to call a supervisor, but I need you to step aside so I can assist other passengers while we wait." "I'm not going anywhere." She planted herself directly in front of my counter, arms crossed, blocking everyone else. The sweet elderly lady behind her looked distressed and started backing away. That's when I'd had enough. See, there's this thing in the airline industry that passengers don't realize. When you're abusive to gate agents, we have a lot of power over your travel experience. We control seat assignments, boarding priority, and most importantly, we can document behavior that justifies seat changes for operational reasons. I smiled politely and picked up my phone. "One moment, please." I called my supervisor, Rebecca, explained the situation in calm, professional terms while Brenda stood there tapping her rhinestone-covered foot impatiently, and within 3 minutes, Rebecca arrived. A no-nonsense woman in her 40s with a navy pantsuit and the kind of expression that says, "I've dealt with 1,000 Karens before breakfast." If you're enjoying this, hit that like button and share this video to support HOA Karen Tales. "Ma'am, I'm Rebecca Chen, the airport manager on duty," she said, extending her hand to Brenda, who ignored it. "I understand you're requesting an upgrade?" "Finally someone with authority!" Brenda exclaimed. "Yes, this rude young man refuses to give me the first-class seat I deserve. I am a HOA president, I've flown with this airline before, and I am being discriminated against." Rebecca glanced at me, and I could see the slight eye roll she tried to hide. "Ma'am, I've reviewed your booking. You purchased a basic economy ticket 3 days ago for $89. First-class tickets for this flight cost $450. We cannot provide a free upgrade of $361 in value. However, if you'd like to pay the difference, I can check availability." "Pay?" Brenda's eyes bulged. "I shouldn't have to pay. This is extortion. I want to speak to your supervisor. I'm calling corporate. I'm posting this on social media. This airline is going to regret treating me this way." Rebecca's expression didn't change. "Ma'am, you're welcome to contact our corporate office, but the answer will be the same. Now I need you to step aside so we can assist other passengers, or I'll need to call security." "Security? Are you threatening me? I have rights. This is America." Brenda's voice reached a pitch that probably disturbed dogs in a 5-mile radius. Rebecca calmly pulled out her radio. "Security to gate 24, please." That's when something beautiful happened. The sweet elderly lady who'd been waiting behind Brenda stepped forward timidly and touched my arm. "Excuse me, young man," she said in the gentlest voice. "I don't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to ask if there's any way I could sit closer to the front of the plane. I have arthritis in my knees, and the long walk to the back is quite difficult for me. I have an aisle seat in row 32, but if there's anything closer available, I'd be so grateful. If not, that's perfectly fine, I'll manage." My heart melted. Here was someone genuinely polite, with an actual reasonable request, who'd been waiting patiently while Brenda threw her tantrum. I checked my screen. Row 32 was the same row where Brenda was seated. This elderly lady, let's call her Margaret, had seat 32C, the aisle seat. Brenda had 32B, the middle seat next to her. And suddenly I had the most beautiful idea. "Ma'am, absolutely," I said to Margaret with a genuine smile. "I have an aisle seat in row 12 that just became available. Let me reprint your boarding pass right now." Margaret's face lit up. "Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you so much." I made the change in the system, printed her new boarding pass, and handed it to her. She thanked me 3 more times and shuffled off happily toward a seat to wait for boarding. Brenda had been momentarily distracted by the arrival of Security Officer Marcus, a tall, muscular man who looked like he could bench press a car, But now she turned back to me. I said, typing on my computer, "I do have a seat change for you. Due to operational needs and weight distribution on the aircraft, we're moving you to seat 35F. Brenda's eyes lit up. "Finally! Where's that? Business class? Premium economy?" I smiled sweetly. "No, ma'am. That's a window seat in the very last row of the aircraft, right next to the lavatory. The seat doesn't recline due to the bulkhead behind it, but it's all we have available." The color drained from her face as reality hit her. The last row? Next to the bathroom? That's worse than what I had." "Yes, ma'am, it is," I said cheerfully. "Your original seat was a middle seat, but at least it reclined. However, we needed to make accommodations for a passenger with a medical condition, the elderly lady you were blocking, so we've reassigned seats accordingly. This is your new assignment. If you'd prefer not to fly today, I can rebook you on a flight tomorrow, but you'll need to pay the change fee since this is a basic economy ticket. Want to hear the craziest HOA tales every week? Subscribe to HOA Karen Tales and never miss out." Brenda's mouth opened and closed like a fish. This is retaliation. You're punishing me for advocating for myself." Rebecca stepped in, her voice ice cold. "Ma'am, the seat reassignment is for operational reasons, which is within our authority. You now have two choices. Accept the new seat assignment and board the flight when your group is called, or we can rebook you for tomorrow. If you continue to cause a disturbance, we'll ask you to leave the gate area entirely. What would you like to do?" Brenda looked between the three of us, me, Rebecca, and Security Officer Marcus, and finally realized she wasn't going to win this battle. "Fine," she spat. "But I'm filing a complaint. You haven't heard the last of this." "You're welcome to file feedback through our website," Rebecca said. "Have a good flight." Brenda snatched her boarding pass from my hand, nearly ripping it, and stomped away muttering about lawsuits and discrimination and how she was never flying this garbage airline again, which, honestly, we were all hoping was true. After she left, Rebecca turned to me with a slight smirk. "Nice work. That was textbook de-escalation with appropriate consequences." "Thanks," I said. "I figured if she wanted a seat change so badly, she should get one." Security Officer Marcus chuckled. "Row 35F next to the lav on a 3-hour flight? That's cold, man. Respect." The rest of the boarding process went smoothly, mostly families and business travelers who were polite and pleasant. When we called Group 4, which included Brenda's new seat assignment, I watched her trudge down the jetway with her oversized purple bag, still muttering to herself. About 20 minutes later, after everyone had boarded, I was doing my final gate check when my phone rang. It was the flight attendant supervisor on the aircraft. "Hey, Jake, just wanted to give you a heads up. That passenger in 35F? The one with the orange hair and the loud floral shirt. She's been complaining nonstop since she sat down. Complaining about the seat not reclining. Complaining about the bathroom smell. Complaining that people keep bumping her when they use the lav. Complaining about everything. We've asked her multiple times to lower her voice because she's disturbing other passengers. If she doesn't calm down, we may need to remove her before departure." I sighed. Of course she was still causing problems. "Do what you need to do. I've documented her gate behavior. Rebecca is aware. Copy that. She's also been taking photos and said she's posting negative reviews online. Just wanted you to know. Appreciate it. Good luck." I hung up and sure enough, 5 minutes later, the flight attendant called back. "She's refused to stop disrupting the cabin. Captain's calling it. We need her off the plane." Oh, this was getting better by the minute. I informed Rebecca, and together we headed down to the aircraft door. Security Officer Marcus came with us. When we got to row 35F, Brenda was in full meltdown mode, red-faced and practically screaming at the flight attendant. "This seat is inhumane. People keep touching me when they go to the bathroom. This is a safety violation. I demand to speak to the pilot right now." The captain, a veteran pilot with zero patience for nonsense, appeared from the cockpit. "Ma'am, I'm Captain Rodriguez. You need to deplane immediately. Your disruptive behavior is delaying this flight and disturbing other passengers." "I'm not getting off this plane!" Brenda shrieked. "You can't make me." "This is kidnapping!" Captain Rodriguez looked at Marcus. "Security, please assist this passenger off my aircraft." Marcus stepped forward and suddenly Brenda's bravado crumbled. "Fine, I'll go. But you're all going to be sued. Every single one of you." She grabbed her purple bag and stomped off the plane, bumping into seats and passengers as she went, still yelling about lawyers and lawsuits and discrimination. Once she was off the aircraft, Rebecca informed her that she was being denied boarding due to disruptive behavior and would need to rebook at her own expense. Brenda demanded a refund. Rebecca calmly explained that refunds for passenger-caused disruptions are denied per the contract of carriage she agreed to when she bought the ticket. Brenda threatened legal action again. Rebecca handed her a customer service card and suggested she contact the legal department if she wished. Brenda finally gave up and stormed off toward ground transportation, still muttering, her brassy orange hair and hot pink floral blouse making her easy to track across the terminal like a neon warning sign. Thanks for watching HOA Karen Tales, where every Karen story has a twist. Like, share, and subscribe for more drama from the neighborhood. After she left, I went back to the gate and closed out the flight paperwork. Margaret, the sweet elderly lady, caught my eye through the aircraft window and gave me a little wave and a smile from her comfortable aisle seat in row 12. Captain Rodriguez called me on the gate phone before departure. "Hey, Jake, just wanted to say thanks for the documentation. Makes our job easier when the paper trail is clear. Also, that elderly passenger you moved to row 12? She just thanked our flight attendant and said you were the nicest young man she'd met in years. Made our cruise day." I smiled. "Happy to help. Sorry about all the drama. Not your fault. Some people just can't handle being told no. Have a good rest of your shift." The flight departed 15 minutes late due to the Brenda incident, but honestly, it was worth it. About a week later, I got called into Rebecca's office, and for a second, I worried that maybe Brenda had actually followed through on her complaint threats. But Rebecca was smiling. "Jake, I wanted you to know that corporate did receive multiple complaints about Flight 1847 last Tuesday." My stomach dropped. "But," she continued, "they were complaints about the disruptive passenger, not about you. Margaret, the elderly woman you helped, wrote a glowing letter to corporate praising your professionalism and kindness. 3 other passengers who witnessed the incident also wrote in supporting your actions. And the captain filed a commendation for your documentation and handling of a difficult situation. Corporate wants to recognize you at next month's staff meeting." I was stunned. "What about Brenda's complaint?" Rebecca laughed. "Oh, she filed 7 different complaints through various channels: email, phone, social media, letter to the CEO. But when corporate reviewed the security footage, gate recordings, and statements from witnesses, they determined her claims were completely unfounded. She's actually been added to our watch list for disruptive passengers. If she books with us again, she'll be flagged for additional screening." "Wow," I said. "I honestly didn't expect it to turn out this well." "That's because you did everything right. You stayed calm, professional, documented everything, and made reasonable accommodations for passengers who actually deserved help. That's exactly what we train for." As I left Rebecca's office, I couldn't help but think about the irony of the whole situation. Brenda came to the airport that day demanding special treatment because she thought she was more important than everyone else, threw a massive tantrum when she didn't get her way, and ended up with the worst possible outcome: removed from the flight, out the cost of her ticket, banned from easy rebooking, and flagged as a problem passenger for future travel. Meanwhile, Margaret, who was polite, patient, and genuinely deserving of assistance, got a better seat, a comfortable flight, and probably made the flight cruise day with her kindness. The moral of this story is beautifully simple. Entitlement gets you nowhere. But kindness and basic human decency will take you everywhere, literally and figuratively. Because the people working in service industries remember how you treat them. And we have way more power over your experience than you realize. So before you march up to a counter demanding special treatment you haven't earned, ask yourself if you'd want to be treated the way you're about to treat someone else. Because karma doesn't just exist at 35,000 feet, it exists at ground level too, often delivered by a gate agent with a computer and the authority to make your day either wonderful or absolutely miserable. And trust me, we remember the Brendas and the Margarets, and we treat them accordingly. And maybe if more people realized that basic respect costs nothing but entitlement costs everything, the world would be a much better place, especially in airports where we're all just trying to get where we're going without unnecessary drama. But hey, at least stories like this remind us that sometimes justice is served right there at Gate 24, one downgraded seat at a time.